Meadows, Corona Park, World's Fair. Don't forget your valuables and enjoy the future.
It's hi-ho and off to the World's Fair in this episode of Details. Hello everyone and welcome to Retro Spectrum. I'm your host, Brandon Specht, and over the next few weeks we'll be traveling back to the 1960s in order to relive a truly universal and international exposition.
I'm filming a segment for our friend Brandon. He emailed us yesterday about doing a segment, and it just so happens that I was kind of planning on coming here, so it's good timing. So definitely go check out his video.
If this sounds like fun, you'll need to make sure you click the subscribe button in order to join us for this adventure. Our journey begins in Flushing Meadows, New York. The Empire State was proud to welcome back the World's Fair to the same site they had held the 1939-1940s fair.
Trains are easy to catch anywhere, anytime, night or day. Just pay 15 cents, hop aboard, and you're on your way. Yes, part of the fun of the World's Fair is the subway special that takes you there.
New York was also one of the 24 states boasting their own pavilion at the World's Fair. In fact, the New York Pavilion's observation decks were two of the highest points at the fair, giving guests an incredible view of the entire fairground. Now, contrary to what Hollywood will tell you, the observation decks were absolutely not repurposed flying saucers. I'll have you know, the pavilion was designed by the legendary American architect Philip Johnson, whose impact on modern architecture is especially abundant throughout New York. Now, not all of the state pavilions were quite as impressive as New York. As one news outlet reported,
they seem to be a collection of afterthoughts and the obvious, the work of governors' relatives.
Okay, so some of the pavilions were basic. Wisconsin boasted the world's largest cheese, which was rather obvious, but I think the architecture of the pavilion was actually kind of brilliant. Someone else must have thought so as well, because after the fair, the building was purchased and moved 1,000 miles to Neillsville, Wisconsin. Now, it might surprise you to learn that the Florida Pavilion was yet another venue met with mixed reviews. Despite offering guests an opportunity to interact with exotic birds like flamingos and cockatoos, go see a water ski show, and an incredible collection of artwork which guests could see for no charge, plus a live porpoise show which only cost a whopping $2. The Florida Pavilion looked more like a resort, complete with a small beach home to a collection of bathing beauties.
Come on down.
Perhaps, if the pavilion could have boasted the world's largest orange, it might have brought out more guests. The Oregon Pavilion was one of the more popular venues at the fair, if you can believe it. For just $1, attendees could experience a show that included axe throwing, log rolling, and a pole climbing act that included real lumberjacks. At the Missouri Pavilion, guests could view the Spirit of St. Louis. That's the historic plane that Charles Lindbergh used to travel from New York to France on the first solo non-stop transatlantic flight. Lucky Lindy still had fans all over the world, so it was no surprise that so many people would want to see this historic aircraft. Of course, the state pavilion that Disney fans will most oftentimes talk about is the Illinois Pavilion. Illinois, you say? Isn't that the state full of cows and soybeans? And to you I say, well, yes. But don't forget, Walt Disney was born in Illinois. People from Illinois may also be very quick to point out that the 16th President Abraham Lincoln spent much of his life in the state, and it's where he started his political career. Disney himself was always fascinated with Old Honest Abe. It's said that as a child, Walt could even recite the Gettysburg Address. When the World's Fair officials first met with Disney and discovered he had been working on an animatronic figure of Abraham Lincoln, they just knew it had to make it out to the fair. This led to the creation of great moments with Mr. Lincoln. Walt Disney's involvement in the Illinois Pavilion certainly helped to ensure its success. People were just astounded by how real the animatronic figure was. In addition, the pre-show did a really good job of pointing out that Illinois is more than just Lincoln's home state. The more research I did for this video, the more I wanted to learn about the 21st state. Then I thought to myself, who would people rather learn about Illinois from? Myself or the state's #1 citizen? And now, ladies and gentlemen, the skills of a YouTuber and the talents of a voice actor will let us explore Abe's honest truth about the Prairie State.
Hey, what's the deal?
Don't worry, Donald. I found the problem.
Illinois gets its name from the native Illinois tribe and means ordinary speaker. There are roughly a dozen different tribes living in and around the state of Illinois. Illinois actually copyrighted the slogan, Land of Lincoln. Besides Walt Disney...
Hey there, Mr. President. How you doing? I hear you're talking about my buddy Walt over here, so I thought I'd just jump right in.
Why don't you just go right ahead?
Oh, gosh, thank you, Mr. President. So besides Walt Disney, a number of well-known personalities were born in the state of Illinois, including Robin Williams, the voice of Homer Simpson, Betty White, Harrison Ford, God, I love him, Jennifer Hudson, Mr. T, I pity the fool, Bill Murray, John Cusack, Bob Odenkirk, Jane Lynch, Jonathan Heston, Gary Sinise, and Jennifer Morrison.
Illinois is also home to the Kaskaskia Dragon.
Let's see.
It's a 30-foot metal dragon that has been terrorizing tourists, as well as the residents of the Illinois RV Park.
Well, of course, Mr. President, the dragon isn't the only monster you'll find in Illinois. That job goes to Rob Blagojevich.
Has anyone heard of the Tully Monster?
Weren't those strange fossils found in Illinois that represent the aquatic creatures that lived there about 300 million years ago?
By God, you're right.
Oh, here's my favorite. The world's largest bottle of ketchup can be found on Route 66 in Collinsville, Illinois. Too bad that didn't make it out of the World's Fair.
At one time, soda was outlawed on Sundays in Illinois, creating a bit of a dilemma for your local soda jerk.
Well, if the soda was a jerk, maybe he had it coming to him.
Legend has it that this is what brought about the creation of the ice cream sundae.
And if you like sweets like me, you should know that the Twinkie was invented in River Forest, just outside of Chicago in 1930.
While Illinois' state dance is square dancing, state is also the official home of the International Polka Association.
Polka Polka!
Illinois also has the largest number of personalized license plates.
Just like you, Abby! Aren't you on the license plate?
Yes. But I must say, my friend, it's been a pleasure.
Oh, gosh. Thank you, Mr. President.
So there it is, folks. What are your thoughts on Illinois? And we also want to know, do you have any thoughts on the 1964-1965 World's Fair? Let us know about it in the comments section below. We also need to say a huge thank you to our friends from The Magic Geekdom on YouTube, who went out to Flushing Meadows and grabbed some amazing footage. And we couldn't have done this video without Goofy, Abraham Lincoln, and our friends from Crisscross Media. They're the ones that gave us all this amazing information about the state of Illinois.
And party on, dudes!
Make sure you subscribe to both of those channels, and might I recommend you also subscribe to Retro Spectrum so you won't miss a single one of these details focusing on the World's Fair. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you next time.